I was being trained to be able to see without my eyes. So actually using my third eye to read a book. And like I would have blindfolds and I'll be training to actually feel the frequency or like visually see these cards that would be in an envelope. Like it could be like a King of Hearts. We're supposed to read what's inside the envelope.
With Easter approaching this weekend, the question really is, who are you? Who gave you your beliefs, and why do you believe and live according to these beliefs that were instilled into you without your awareness? And today I have a great guest, one of my deepest friends, and she's like somebody I really trust. And she also has gone through some religious trauma and has left and has found her authentic self. Oh, that's why I'm wearing these glasses, because it's not really me. Well, anyways, there I am. So let me get started. And in case you're wondering why I was wearing the glasses, it's just something silly that I came up with. But I do want to introduce Senya in here, and we're going to be talking about the beliefs that you were given, not your choice. Here we go. So Senya, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I wanted to, I'm very, very happy to have you here. And, I want to say, I know you've been through the stuff that I've been through. And, and doing your own research yourself, what has brought you to this place of discovering your authentic self and why you're so passionate about this topic?
Well, speaking of religious trauma, I would say it's more like a cult trauma, right? For me, it's not even a real religion where I came out of. And honestly, I think this is something we kind of have in common, where I think that deep within ourselves, we knew that what we were witnessing and experiencing wasn't quite resonating with us, right?
And I think as people, we all have that.
100%.
You know.
But it seems to like the volume goes down, right? As we continue to ignore, and it becomes literally just a what do you call it? Just a vibration that's just like an undercurrent of your being. But I will say that there was a lot of moments in my life where something within me basically kind of tugged at me, right? Saying, this isn't right, or, this doesn't feel right in my gut, and everybody else is following this, right? Like, and this is really the whole world. Like, I feel like this cult is just a microcosm of the macrocosm of what's really happening. And what's really, there's a guiding light to, where we get to certain places, right? Like, what is that thing? And that thing is what our essence, our soul, our higher self, you might call it, or the divine, or maybe it's God, right? Like it's some kind of a higher power. And how I honestly landed here in my life is the fact that I just followed that inner pull. I call it a soul urge.
So in speaking about that, and I know for myself as well, there's a lot of, it's all doing hypnosis. I recognize that most of the people that I'm working with, they're having a lot of, from the time you're born to the time of your first memory, what happened? How is it that you're talking? I always tell people, how is it that you're talking to this 2-year-old, right? And the 2-year-old is like, oh yeah, I want cookies, I want donuts, I want pizza and ice cream and whatever. Or 3, when they start talking. And then even though you took them to Disneyland and you're like, hey, remember when Mickey had you in his arms? They won't remember. But yet who are you conversing with, right? So from the time you're born till like your first memory, actually till 4, as you have about 70% of your subconscious already programmed. And that's where your beliefs come from. So with you, do you feel you had any childhood conditioning, and what did you recognize was the childhood conditioning that you experienced?
Well, my background's a little interesting because I grew up at an early age within this conformity, right? And I didn't know like anything outside of that for a long time. It's very, I'm from Korea, right? I'm already from a different country, a very specific belief system within this cult. And I was actually training to like have these like special, like spiritual, like psychic gifts essentially. And I was like doing all these.
Can you share some of those? Because they're so amazing.
So when I was like 6 years old to maybe 10 years old, I was being trained to be able to see without my eyes. So actually using my third eye to read a book. And like I would have blindfolds and I'll be training to actually feel the frequency or like visually see these cards that would be in an envelope. Like it could be like a King of Hearts. We're supposed to read what's inside the envelope.
That is amazing.
Yeah, or color.
That is next level.
And like
that's
even,
Matrix stuff, like right.
100%.
The spoon
like
is not there, or whatever. The little kid.
Oh yeah,
spoon.
I literally went to like a real life X-Men school when I was young, right? And so it wasn't just that. Like ultimately, what we were able to do was to do like a body scan of people, like ourselves and other people. It's like literally doing like those laser beam like laser vision kind of thing where you can see what's happening in that person's body, like, oh, you have a liver disease or you have a broken bone or like you have these illnesses, like we can see those things. But I truly believe like every single person on this planet is totally capable of doing it.
Right. I believe it.
Yeah. And honestly,
I've done it without knowing I did it.
And this goes to our point today that I think the limitations that we experience, like what we experience as a whole, is limited because this is the belief that was placed upon us, right? When we all know that we have these abilities, then our realities will shift, right? But right now we base everything off of this two-dimensional but science-based reality that we can only do XYZ, right? We can only do a 4-minute mile or something, right? A 3-minute mile, right? Like that's our fullest capacity. Like we can't go any faster than that.
And there are Rupert Sheldrake is the one that came up with this formula. In case people don't know, they want to look it up. It's called morphic resonance. And he talks about in morphic resonance. He speaks of how the 3-minute mile when I forgot his first name, when he broke the 3-minute mile back then there wasn't social media. It's not like people were posting this, but within I think like a 3-month span, I think like 9 people broke the 3-minute mile
across the world.
Across the world.
Yes.
It was like Germany, Israel, like people were breaking this. And so also they did a test. We're so connected, right? They did a test, not to get too sidetracked, but where if people want to read up on morphic resonance, they did a test. I think it was the rats were in Atlanta, and then the other ones I think were in LA. And they had a maze. And the minute it took, I don't know how long it took for them to finally figure out the maze, but the minute one figured out the maze, they all started figuring out the maze, even in the other city. So when did you realize, or what was it? Because that, to me, I'd be like, wow, that's freaking awesome. I could do this, right? What a gift. But yet, something within that, you weren't happy. So what was it that I would be like, wow, this is freaking cool. But yet you...
Yeah. So I'm actually I was very good at this. I mean, there were competitions for kids to enter and place, and I placed third one time. Okay. And I actually ended up crying after getting that placement. And I think it's because it was a little traumatic because I am and I have been a very highly sensitive child and a person, meaning not like, oh, like rocks and stones hurt me. It's more like I'm energetically sensitive about what's going on, what is this person's intention, and I felt a lot of pressure from the elders, the teachers, my parents. They were almost like forcing me to do it instead of naturally letting me, lean into this gift and develop this gift for something good. But it felt like it was very forced on me.
So do you feel that it was more instead of being for you, it was more for them to show, look at what we can teach people. So it was more about them than you.
I felt like a science lab rat.
Okay.
You know, because they actually had me go into labs to do brain scans, like to see what was happening when I was going into these states. So I would wear all these like little, I remember like wearing a cap or like this little, I don't know, wires with like mud on them or something like that. Anyway, like they're reading my brain scans because they knew I was able to do these things. And I mean, like, it wasn't just me, like there were like a whole busload of kids who were bending spoons. Like that's what we were doing during summer.
Wow.
You know, it's like really wild to say that, but it was true. And like my entire family has bent spoons in their lifetime. And yeah, I just felt like, they're like testing me. They're observing me, right? Like they're trying to get data from me, right? They're training me, but also like extracting from me. Right. And it almost felt like exploitation of kids, right, that are able to do this. But they were like using this information for something. I wasn't sure for what it was, but it did not feel good for me because it wasn't like fostering like my own agency, my inner authority, you know, like, do I have a choice in this or am I just forced to do it? Right. I think that also goes back to the, you know, topic of like, how do you know what is your truth or not? Right. Like, I think the only truth there truly is when you can be sovereign. Right. I don't believe that like we have to abide by any certain belief system as long as you're being authentic to yourself.
To yourself, yes.
And I want to go back to what you were saying about how we're all connected, right?
Right.
That even goes to show, right? There's a higher realm that we're not tapping into, and this Absolutely. Is all connected, right? Like my ability to see through things without my actual eyes. Like, how is that even possible? Right? And how do we find our truth? Is to tap into this consciousness, this collective universal consciousness that
which we're all a part of.
Yes, we're 100% part of, like what you were saying earlier.
And even something as simple, and just for that, I'm going to post this video at the end of this. I'm going to put a video that I did dancing, because I was raised in Christianity, and so yes and no. I mean, I had aunts that were Jehovah's Witnesses, and I had a lot of different beliefs I was being brought up. But I always had a knack for the spiritual realm, right? And I remember I used to like people that remember me in Chicago. I used to preach on the corners with the bullhorn. I was that guy with the bullhorn sending everybody to hell, and get right or get left, turn or burn. I had them all. I had everything. Hey, let me pray for you, brother, before you go to hell. Do you know where you're going? Like, it's so dumb. And by the way, on that topic, being that this is what prompted Easter's what prompted this discussion. Actually, there is a verse, and I want to just bring this up because I used to teach this stuff, and I just want people to know what's out there. Even in the Bible, in Matthew 27, verse 51 through 53, where it says, and I'm going to just read 52, and it says, the tombs broke open, the bodies of many holy people who died were raised to life, and they came out of their tombs after Jesus' resurrection and went into the holy city and appeared to many. So it's not about just one person. This is it goes to show that it's a metaphor, and it's symbolic, because it says that many rose and appeared to many in the city. So it's symbolic of waking up, but people take it like, so literal. So start studying sometimes. And when I started studying, I was like, whoa, there's much more in here that people are not aware of, that people are not told. But so as you know, I do hypnotherapy. I had a client that this is what prompted me about who are we believing this whole episode. And she told me, and she had some sessions left, and I love her. I mean, she's a great friend of mine, but I understand where she's coming from because I was there once. And she tells me, River, the reason I haven't gone to the next session is because I see that you dance salsa. And how can my hypnotherapist be dancing salsa and sinning? I was like, salsa sinning? And I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, it's true. Like, yes, I shouldn't post that. I need to be holy, right? Like this it came out of like from deep in there from the past. It was still there. And then I went and I had a Reiki session with a dear friend of mine, and then what came out of that was, it's time to live your authentic self, right? And I've been within that for about 2-3 weeks. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm posting this video. And if you don't want to listen to me because I salsa dance and I sin, don't. You're not my client. I'm not your practitioner, and that's okay. So yeah, I'm gonna put the video that I did of me dancing with a friend of mine up on the roof, dancing salsa. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. But sorry I didn't want to get sidetracked. I do want to mention something that we talked about, which was rebellion versus reclamation, and finding your true authentic self is not rebellion. It's returning to your true essence. Share with us what you found or what you've seen with all the people that you work with, because I know you do some really cool stuff. What have you found with that as far as your true essence?
Yeah. There's something I wanted to speak about earlier, and it's all tying together. So rebellion is one of my favorite words, but also on this journey of life, I realized that was the reclamation, me walking back to myself, right? Becoming my true self. And I say that I love the word rebellion because sometimes we need to feel like we are rebelling in a sense because we're going up against the norm, right?
Right.
The society's norms. When you go against what people who are Christian, right? Maybe Korean people that are very, modest, they can't imagine doing something like that. Or, everybody has their own belief system where they feel like this is right, this is wrong. If I do this, and I should be ashamed of myself, or there's a lot of shame, and then
and please comment on that.
Categorize, all of the things that we do, but the thing is, who are we to judge, right? When I truly believe that there's no right or wrong, just like in nature, everything exists with a purpose. I don't think we should ever shy away from negative emotions, right? I always say that being angry, especially as a woman, it's actually really important to lean into that anger because there's so much underneath that. That's just a surface level emotion that we have to express, and we need to cultivate a lot of energy to be able to take action. And sometimes it comes out as anger, and then that could be rebellion too. But that also returns us back to our true self because there's something that's being violated within ourselves that causes that anger to happen. So you see, so it's actually a good thing when that comes up. It's then you get to see, oh, wow, on the other side of that, there's self-respect. There's self-love,
boundaries,
which
is
exactly my boundaries have been violated. And I experienced this a lot when I wanted to say, when you were talking about how with Easter, right, we're all believing that per the Bible, one person rises, but it's not true. It's many, right? And I wanted to kind of touch on how cults, right? They are following one person, and nobody gets to be their authentic self because they're doing what they're told.
Correct.
They literally have no autonomy.
Correct.
No sovereignty.
Correct. Right? And I think that's, I have a quote here that I have that, I don't know who said this, but the most dangerous beliefs are the ones we don't know we have. Our blind spots. And in the next segment, I want to talk about blind spots because I had a very powerful week. And so we'll talk about that in our next segment, part 2, because this is we want to keep it short, under 25 minutes for sure, including my dance video now. See what you guys like, comment on it, and also I invite you all to share this with friends and family. Maybe somebody who's had some kind of religious trauma, or some kind of cult trauma, or a trauma of being told whatever because of the family dynamic. You can't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't date that kind of person, be with whatever it is. We're in this era of returning to our authentic self.
That's right.
And I'm really loving seeing a lot of people break free from traumas. So thank you for joining us, Senya and I will we will do the next segment, and which will be part 2.
want you to want me, baby, just like I want you. This one where love is just a fantasy.